You think I'm crazy?
Hello to everyone that is starting to join our cosmic dance floor, all the way from the city of angels to Chicago. Our hearts are at Rythmia, our physical bodies are just across the seas. Right, Alana?
You're right.
Okay, everyone, if you think that's a dog, that's not really a dog. It's actually a person. I met this
Yes, it is. Olive's more of a person than I am.
No, seriously, when I met your baby, I will call it your baby, I really felt like I was communicating with more of a person than a dog.
Oh, trust me. She gets treated more like a person than she does a dog. I think she gets treated better than I do, to be honest. But how can you not with a face like that? I mean, come on.
Well, not only is Alana the life of the party everywhere she goes, so is Olive.
That is true. Olive's actually more popular than I am. She definitely is.
Okay, well, I always love to start these Rythmia Facebook Lives with a little bit of moving and shaking. It just always brings us more into the present. All right, welcome everybody. I'll be the DJ and I'll bring this musica to a closing. There we go. Welcome, 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 Alana.
Thank you, Parashakti. How are you?
I'm so good. I'm so good. You know, I am healing from a lower back injury, so I'm learning how to slow down. That's my dance of life right now.
That's difficult for you. I know that, as it is for all of us.
Yes, yes. And that's, you know, that's something that you and I share in common. And I just see you so much in that light of someone who's such a mover and shaker and so dedicated to everything you touch. And so with that, welcome you. And, you know, our subject today is life before Rythmia and life at Rythmia. And I know that you have quite a story, a journey to share of how you even, you know, landed at Rythmia. So
right.
Tell us.
Okay. Well, I was born. So basically, my background prior to Rythmia was in corporate sales. So I worked at a company called Tech Systems. It was my first job out of college, and I worked there for 19 years. So I started out in the engineering division, where I recruited engineers and then moved on to sell our services to various clients. So I did that for about 8 or 9 years. And then I went on to the IT division of that organization, where I recruited and then provided those services to various clients in the IT sector. So after about 9 years of that, it was an amazing company. I still have many friends and family that work there. I wanted to see if, you know, I could do something else. And my intention was to take about 3 months off and, you know, kind of do some downtime, right? You know, some repairs, some organizations. And then after that, I started a new job 3 days later. So there was no downtime for me then. But I then worked for a company called Gartner, where I sold our services of research and advisory services to CIOs and the direct reports. I did that for about 3 years, about 3.5 to be exact. And I'm actually sitting in the home of someone who's still very, very special to me, whether he's here or he's over us. But a tragic thing kind of happened to our family where my cousin passed away, and he was 35 and living life and living large, and he fell off the back of a golf cart at a family get together. So it was pretty devastating for our family, and it still is. But we know that he's always watching over us, aiding us. But we do a golf outing in his memory every year. And that golf outing was in August. It was August 18th. And I drove home on that Sunday and just really reflected. I was going. You know, I was doing, and I just wasn't having much downtime at all. And I kind of was realizing that I was doing a job and I wasn't really passionate about it anymore. So I got home and, you know, I worked like I did on Monday and did the rise and grind. And at the end of the day at 5:30, I was talking to my boss and I just, you know what, I'm done. And she's like, oh, me too. I hate Mondays. And I was like, no, I think I'm done with this job. And she was like, what? I gave my notice and I never not worked. And I'm saying like from the time of 12 or 13, I've never not worked. So it was very liberating and very scary. And I remember I was scared to tell my parents, you know, in my mid 40s, I was like, oh, am I going to get in trouble for quitting my job? But, you know, I never had. And I was scared to even go into the office. I remember saying that I'm going to work from home and you know, I'll send in my computer and whatnot. And because I knew they'd talk me into staying, you know, and that's what I did. I did for others and I forgot to do for me, unfortunately. So I went ahead and resigned. And then I didn't even tell my parents for 2 weeks, like I said. So then, you know, I just wanted to relax and I wasn't sure what I was going to do. But my best friend from college, she is a chiropractor and she's been studying and researching DMT for quite some time. And so she said, hey, listen, you know, we should go and, you know, do some ayahuasca. And I was like, what? I'd never heard of it before. And I went ahead and get my trust in her and she found rythmia. And so I was like, okay, well, let me, you know, look into this a little bit more. And, you know, as I read things and whatnot, I saw that, you know, people would go to the jungle and people would go to the Amazon. And I wasn't really down with that. And I'd been to Costa Rica before. So when, you know, I looked up rythmia and I was like, 5-star resort, yoga, ooh, I'm in, you know, dance of liberation, I'm in, you know, meditation, a holistic staff, and, you know, everything that rythmia offers, stem cell therapy. I was like, okay, I'm down with this. I'll kind of put my trust in you and my friend and in rythmia and see what happens. So oddly enough, we went in January of 2020. And I have to tell you, Parashakti, my first night of medicine was what I say close to demonic as you can get. It was very, very scary. And I was nervous after that first day. You know, you walk out and you kind of go to the people that are scared, right? And we were talking, I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, I don't know if I could do a couple more nights of this and everything. And they're like, yeah, this is crazy. And then here comes my girlfriend and she's tall and blonde and beautiful and she's flowing out in her white, looking like an angel. And she's like, I said, how was it for you? And she goes, oh my gosh, Alana, it was the most beautiful experience of my life. I felt like I was an angel and I was on clouds with my grandmother and my mom was there and everybody was singing. And I was like, what the heck? I was like, that was not my experience. But interestingly enough, I think that first night of drinking medicine was by far the most transformational for me. And I can get into that a little later if you'd like. But I definitely feel that that kind of not knowing a lot and being able to not, you know, predict what was going to happen. I wasn't able to control it, right? So it kind of did what it needed to do. And I honestly, I had suffered from allergies my entire life. I used to get shots every 2 weeks when I was a child. I have never taken an allergy pill since. And that's crazy because I was allergic to grass, dust, dander, cats, horses, you name it. And I was at friends' houses with cats just, you know, yesterday, and I didn't even sneeze. So that's one thing. And then I suffered from ADHD and ADD for my entire life. And I was a lot of what my experience was the first night on medicine, because my night felt like this. My life was going like this, and it was so fast and I couldn't keep up with it. And I truly believe that when I purged that out of me, and I am no longer on any medication for that. And I can actually finish tasks. Some people say, are you sure you're not still ADD? And I said, probably, but at least I'm not on medication for it, right? So that was amazing. And then, so I finished the week, and I will tell you that my next journey, that next night, after talking to the amazing holistic staff that's there, and helped me, guide me through my experience, it was so gentle and beautiful and loving and warm. And, I've drank medicine now several times since then, and they're not scary, and I don't think I have that fear anymore. And so that fear doesn't come out in the journeys that I take. And I get awesome downloads and clarity and information and funny. Oh my gosh, sometimes they're so funny and I'm laughing out loud, and then as people are journeying around me, it's so beautiful and it's wonderful to watch all the magic that happens. You specifically when you're there, I love to watch you and watch all the beautiful dancing and the healing that happens. So it's phenomenal. So then that's my first week. And so I finished it, and it was amazing, as everybody says, and as TripAdvisor says. So then I went ahead and I went to closing group. And it was really funny because my girlfriend and I were tagged Thelma and Louise by Jerry. He thought that we were the crazy girls, and that is very fitting for us. But anyway, so we were at closing group, and Chef Meg was teaching it, or Meg Pearson. And at the end of it, we were walking out, and of course we had both miracles. So we wanted a tattoo, and she has some nice art. And we were talking to her. He's like, "You're funny. What do you do?" And I said, "Well, currently I'm fun employed," because I was having a lot of fun being unemployed. And then she said, "Well, what did you do before?" I said, "I've always been in sales." And I said, "Why are you hiring?" And I said that just totally goofing around, like, whatever, I'm kind of a jokester. And she said, "Actually, we are." And I was like, "Whoa." And she said, let me talk to a few people and I'll get back to you. And so my friend Sarah looked at me and she's like, oh my God, is this really going to happen? And I was like, oh, I don't know. So then I met with Jerry at 7:30 the day I was going to leave, and we had breakfast, and he said, we chatted for a little bit, and we had got to know each other throughout the week of being there, because he interacts with the guests quite a bit. And so he said, well, I got a job for you. And in my mind, I was like, "Ooh, I live in Chicago. I know that corporate headquarters is in Malibu." I'm like, "I'll work 2 weeks in Chicago, 2 weeks in Malibu. I'll get platinum status on American. I'll visit my friends." And I was like, yeah, I'm interested. And he said, well, we recently have had an opening at Novacell, which is the stem cell therapy that we do at Rythmia. And it was the director of Novacell Health doing sales. And I was like, okay, but how am I going to do that, from Chicago? And he's like, "You're not. The job is in Costa Rica." And I was like, I don't think so. And I'm like, no. I said, I live in Chicago. I have tons of friends and I have tons of family. And, and he's like, "Well, are you married?" And I was like, "Well, I was." And he goes, "How many kids?" I'm like, "I have a dog." And he said, "Well, bring her." And I was like, "Yeah, I don't think so." And he said, "You know what? You don't have to decide now. Just go ahead and think about it. And here's my number. And you just let me know." And so I was like, okay, and we walked away, and my friend's like, "Oh my gosh, you're the chosen one." I was like, "Oh my gosh, Sarah, I'm not moving to Costa Rica." And so, you basically float out of rhythm like everybody does after the week there. And we were living in love and light and everything was beautiful. We went to the airport and everybody's bumping and shoving. And we're like, "No, go ahead. You can go. This is amazing." You're just living stress-free and getting rid of all the things that you get rid of when you do the week. And then we talked about it. And so I called my mom, and I'll never forget this. My mom was on the way to Dancing with the Stars with my aunt. And I called her, and I'm like, I was so excited. I go, "Mom, guess what? My week at Rythmia was awesome. And they offered me a job." And she's like, "Okay." And she goes, "Well, where? Like in Chicago?" I go, "No, in Costa Rica." And her voice immediately changed. She goes, "Okay, honey, well, your aunt and I are going to Dancing with the Stars. So do not sign anything." Total mom move, and freaked out. And so I said, "Just wait. I'll come see you and Dad. We'll sit down and have lunch and talk about it." So she's like, okay. And so I got home a couple days later, and, my mom and dad, I grew up in a small town in outside of Chicago. And so I met them, and they were at their, the local cafe, and I walked in and they had their backs to me, and I put my hands on their backs, and I said, on their heads, and I said, "Bless you, my people." My dad goes, "God darn it, Elena, sit down, quit being a weirdo," and they totally freaked out. And I just talked to him about it, and I said, "Listen, it's an opportunity. I'm considering it, it's an amazing place. And you know, I just want you guys to know, and I want your support, right? And so as I was driving back home, we're on a family text string that's called the Lamb Fam. And my dad sends a text and he says, Lena's joining a cult. And then my little sister goes, Dad, Lena's on this text string. So truth be told, my mom and dad were extremely hesitant and fearful, you know, of just the unknown, right? And then my brother, he really wanted to come to Rythmia. And so when I got back, my sister and I sent him down later, and he had definitely a transformational week for himself. And then, you know, once the baby of the family said it was okay, my mom and I gave their blessing. And so, yeah, I moved down to, well, I went back to Costa Rica in March to do my shadow week. And I was going to start selling April 1st. And then the pandemic happened. So I had to come back to the States and just continue to train and study up, you know, via Chicago. And then I was able to go back down to Costa Rica in November when we opened back up. And I've been there ever since. So it's phenomenal.
Wow. Okay, so major life transformation from being unemployed to serving a community of such great healing, and especially with the work that you do. Can you share with us more about the work that you do at Rythmia with the stem cells?
Sure. Absolutely. So I am not only a salesperson or the director of Novacell, but I'm also a client. So I decided to do stem cells for myself in March of 2020 when I went back the second. And the reason, you know, was, you know, I'm in my mid 40s and fairly healthy and extremely active. And I always had a bad knee. My right knee would always blow up. Like every time I bike ride or, you know, do any type of physical activity, it would always hurt afterwards. And I was like, you know what? I am so sick of this pain. And so I read up on Novacell and went to the presentation, and I was like, whoa, it reduces inflammation. I had done an MRI. They wanted to do surgery. And, you know, I've seen too many people with, you know, once they do surgery, it was worse than before, right? So I had worked out on a Tuesday, and I did this like 7-minute Tabata workout, you know, and I do it like 3 or 4 times, and I am donezo. I mean, I'm breathing heavy, and it's like I'm absolutely exhausted. And then I did my stem cell therapy on Wednesday, and I went to the gym that evening, and they did tell me not to work out, but you know, I forgot. And I did that workout, and I didn't even break a sweat. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. So I was going to do it again. And then my friend goes, hey, didn't you get stem cells? And I was like, oh my gosh, that's why I feel so good. And it was literally Parashakti the same day where I had just felt so much better. And now a year later, or more than a year, there is zero inflammation in my knee. My metabolism is amazing. Like it absolutely. So what stem cells does is there's 4 really major components of it. It reduces all the inflammation in your body, which inflammation is the cause of most yucky diseases, right? It also aligns your immune system, which is amazing. It's also good for anti-aging. And when we say anti-aging, everyone thinks of like face and skin. It's not that. It's about your body itself. And then it regenerates tissue, right? So my knee is perfectly fine. I don't have to have surgery. And I continue to see the benefits of what it's done to me. And so the most important thing is the supplements that you get. So any therapy or treatment you get, whether it's the 10, 20, or 30 million, we give you a year supply of supplements, and they're by Healthy Cell. And they are some of the most amazing supplements that I don't take anything else except my Healthy Cell AM and PM. And then of course my telomere lengtheners, because the telomere is cellular clock, right? And I know for a fact that these grow your telomeres, because we had a client that came to us from South Korea, and before he came to Rythmia, he had gotten his telomeres measured. And your telomeres basically tell you your biological age. Or your cellular age versus your biological. So he got him done, and then he did our stem cell therapy, and he came back 6 months later, and he had taken all the supplements, and he got out of the truck, you know, the Rythmia van, and he came over and he's like, Alana, and I'm like, hey, and I'm like, my gosh, you look amazing. And he's like, thank you. Guess what? And I was like, what's that? And he goes, my telomeres grew. And I was like, you're kidding me. And of course I was like, how do you know that? And he's like, because he got them measured and they actually grew from the stem cell treatment and taking those supplements.
Wow. Yeah. So many miracles to celebrate.
Right? Yeah, amazing. It's pretty incredible. I tell everybody that comes to Rythmia, if you can afford it, it's a no-brainer. And if you can't, manifest it. Right?
So, and that's what really Rythmia is all about. It's about manifesting that which your soul is ready to take flight and receive. And so you really listen to the call. That's what I like to say is, your soul knew that this is what was going to be the next chapter. When you were unemployed, it was just a moment in time to transition you into this incredible new service that you offer to the world. And you are such a shining light. You're so inspired. And
thank you.
Yeah, what a great transformation. I just cheerlead you.
Thank you so much. It's interesting. So my schedule is 2 months on, 1 month off. So this is my month off. And I have to tell you, getting together with friends and family and meeting people through friends and family that I hadn't met before. Usually if I hadn't met them, my friends tell them like, wait till you meet my friend Alana. She lives in Costa Rica. So that's pretty cool. And then they're like, well, what do you do in Costa Rica? And then I get to tell them I live, in Costa Rica and I work at a health and wellness center where you can do plant-based medicine, and I sell stem cell therapy, and people literally their mouths drop to the floor, and then they're like, give me your business card, I want to come. Oh my gosh,
right.
So it's pretty cool. It's something that I'm very, very proud of, and I'm also very blessed and honored, because if it wasn't for taking my friend's advice and coming and having the courage, right, because it's kind of scary, it's definitely something that I probably never would have done if it wasn't for the help and advice of my friends, right? And reading the trip advisors, because that was definitely important. And also watching some Facebook Lives. I did that a little bit. So it was nice when I got there was familiar faces.
Yeah, I want to speak and close with your first night, as you shared at Rythmia, was very fearful. And I'm sure that people who have not done the medicine, who watch our Facebook Lives, have that essence of fear, can I even do this? So what wisdom can you share for someone who, is watching right now and is like 1 foot in and 1 foot out and is like, I want to go, but I'm too scared. So what would you say as a closing for that very specific, wonderful soul?
This is what I tell everyone. I have traveled. I've been lucky enough to travel all over the world and vacation in some amazing places. And I will tell you that going to Rythmia was the best vacation I've ever had because of what it has given me and the tools that it has given me. So like Nike says, just do it. There is the holistic staff and the team and the support there is like nothing I've ever seen. It's an extended family for me, and so as scary as it is, the benefits much outweigh whatever fear that you have, Yeah.
And, one last thing I'll say is, like you, I'm here in the City of Angels, and I just, walk with rhythm for the Rythmia way. And even people who have never heard of plant medicine, the minute they see someone like you and I that are living and breathing it, it's like so infectious. It's like, I want this too. So,
right. Yeah. I'll tell you one more thing, Parashakti. I was actually in the City of Angels for the Bears in Rams game. Fortunately, it went the other way. But my niece just moved to Hermosa Beach, and so I met her for lunch. And we were chatting, and she has a friend that really wants to come to Rythmia. And I said, Lexi, she should, and I told her, go on TripAdvisor and whatnot. And she said, Lena, it's funny. I was talking to my mom the other day, and she goes, God, I just want to live in bliss like Alana. And I was like, oh my God, that's so sweet. So I was like, wow, okay, I live in bliss, And then I'm like, I do live in bliss. I do live in love and light, it's kind of funny. So it's really cool to have your family see that, right? That knows you the best and the most.
Totally. So as I danced at the beginning and I said that Alana is the life of the party.
So is Olive.
Elena doesn't go anywhere without Olive.
No, I don't.
He is a bottle of bliss. You are a bottle of bliss, an inspiration who has gone through a major transformational journey, and you continue to serve in that way. And so I'm so grateful to be wing to wing with you when we are at Rythmia working together.
All right.
And I send you off with so much love.
Thank you, Parashakti. So beautiful to see you. We'll see you soon. Bye.
Everybody.
See ya. Bye, Anna. Say bye.